Hello, everyone. This is the show of Blonde and Beyond. My co-host is out of town, so therefore you will just see me today. And allow me to introduce myself. My name is Judge Lee B. First. I'm a retired judge. I was a supervising judge at the Workers' Compensation Board in the state of New York for the entire state. I was in charge of 52 judges at that time. I was there 12 years at the Workers' Compensation Board. Also, I was the president of the Metropolitan Women's Bar Association in New York. I'm also an author. I wrote a book, Justice is Blonde, the unorthodox story of an orthodox woman. And it's the story of my life. I also have appeared on television and radio. And I'm an attorney. I practice law at this time. And I specialize in trial work, accident cases. Now, the last time that I appeared before you, I told you a little bit about my life and about my work. Because many of you have watched me, and I don't have my co-host here today, I thought you would be interested to hear even more, since this is only a half-hour show. So the last time I stopped in 1975. But to reiterate to you what I said the last time, only very, very little of that. I was born in Switzerland and came to America in 1941 on the last boat from Europe before the war. And my father was a rabbi in America, and I went to Brooklyn Law School, then I went to Brooklyn College. Prior to Brooklyn College, then Brooklyn Law School, and I met my husband in Brooklyn College, and I married him, and he told me to be a lawyer, and he made me his partner at the time, because many years ago it was very difficult for women to get jobs in the law. It's nothing like today. And then in 1975, the governor of the state of New York, Governor Carey, appointed me as a judge. That is where I stopped the last time, and I will tell you the rest of my life. And first of all, I was a judge, as you know, and I also was a lawyer first. And now I'm back to being a lawyer. So I want to tell you some of the jokes, black lawyers' jokes, which everybody loves. There's a boat, it sunk, and all the people were drowning, and all the sharks came from all over, and they ate up the people, but they did not touch a lawyer. They said, "Why, shark, why aren't you eating lawyers?" He said, "Professional courtesy." Now the question has been asked, why are lawyers buried 20 feet deep when they die instead of 3 feet? Why are they buried 20 feet deep when they die? You know the answer? Deep down, lawyers are good people. Very funny. I don't mind telling jokes about lawyers. Why not? You know, we have to make fun. If we don't enjoy our life, then what is life all about? We have to do the best we can, because to be serious is very easy. So what happened, and other good joke, is a lawyer and a doctor and an architect meet. And they say, "I was the first one in the world, in this world." They said, the doctor said, "I was here first. You know what? I created Adam. I created a body alive." The architect said, "Oh no, you see, you weren't here first. I was here first. Out of chaos, I created an entire world. I built the whole world." So the lawyer looked at the architect. He said, "Who do you think created the chaos?" Now we'll tell you about judges. Judges, we have plenty of jokes about judges too. This man goes to Africa where they eat people, and he sees a sign. The sign says, "Butcher shop. Lawyer's brains, $10. Doctor's brains, $10. Judge's brains, $50. So he said, "Why are judges' brains $50?" the man asked. So the butcher said, "Do you know how many judges we have to kill to get a pound of brains?" There's another very good joke. You see, every lawyer aspires to be a judge because, it's an easier life, they think, So what happened is a man goes to rent a hunting dog. He wants to do hunting. So he goes over, he said, "Give me this dog." The man said, "His name is Lawyer, and you will pay me $5 an hour." So the man said, "Sure." He goes hunting with the lawyer, he runs around, he does everything very good. So he brings back the dog. The next week he comes and, "I would like to rent Lawyer again." He was excellent. So the man said, "Okay, give me $5 an hour, you can have Lawyer." So he paid him then. But the third week he comes back. He said, "Listen, would you give me Lawyer again?" The man said, "Sure, you can have him for $1 an hour." So the man said, "How could that be? Why are you charging only $1 an hour?" So the man said, "Listen, somebody rented him and called him judge by mistake, and now all he wants to do is sit on his fat behind and bark." That's the way we think of judges, that they don't work hard. Then another joke I forgot to tell you. What is it when you see 3,000 lawyers drowning in the Hudson River? You know what it is? A good beginning. But I am not just a comedian. I am also a person who was a judge. So when I was appointed in 1975, our office was in the World Trade Center at that time. And I was appointed, I sat mostly on trials because I have a lot of trial experience. The Workers' Compensation Board hears thousands of cases every day. Every judge has to hear at least 50 to 60 cases a day. But they're not all trials. There were hearings to set the rate, determine how much money a person owes, how much money they make, so the insurance company has to pay them accordingly, but there is a limit how much they get every week, even if they get the top amount of money. So what happened when I was there, they got very little, but it's been increased so that people can live if they are injured. So the accident must arise out of and in the course of employment, As I said before, there were 3 girls and 150 men. So therefore, when people would come to my court and see a woman there, especially if she looked good, that woman had no credibility. Women had to be ugly to be smart. You couldn't look good and be smart. So one man came and he lied to me so much. So I said to my friend, "What does he think? That I am here to administer justice or just to beautify the court?" My friend says, "You can do both. Now you can do both. You can look good and you can be smart." So when the first week when I was there, one of the lawyers walked in. He was looking for who this judge is. Who's the judge? I said it was me. He said, "Judge, you are gorgeous." So therefore my name became Judge Gorgeous, and my courtroom, instead of Courtroom Part 9, became Studio 9. Everyone enjoyed it. They always had a good time when they came to my court. But on the bench, I am a very strict, authoritarian person. No one calls me by my first name, never. Because when you become friendly with the people, the lawyers, etc., it is difficult to rule against them. Very, very difficult. So with me, I would be very good. Off the bench, I would certainly say hello to the people and be nice. But on the bench, I was very, very serious. This reminds me of, it's better to get along with people. I was the boss of 52 judges, so sometimes you have to tell a few jokes. So it reminds you of a woman, 3 women are captured by cannibals in Africa. And they said to the first woman, the headhunter goes over, he said to the woman, "Chi-Chi or death?" She said, "Look, I don't want to die, give me Chi-Chi." So the man goes over the headhunter, and 1,000 men, they rape her and everything, and they let her go. They goes over to the second woman, Chi-Chi or death? She said, look, I don't want to die. Give me Chi-Chi. So he takes 2,000 men, they rape her and everything. The third woman, he said, listen, he takes a knife to her throat, Chi-Chi or death? She said, I am very brave. I will take death. So the headhunter said, okay, we'll give you death. But first, we'll have a little Chi-Chi. In other words, my court, I always say, first we have a little Chi-Chi. We have fun, we say good morning to everyone, and then we get down to serious business. Now, when I was there about a week or two, the men, men of another generation, they can't see women on the bench. So he walked in, this little Italian man, and he did not have a lawyer, because half the people do not have lawyers, although the insurance company has to pay the fee, but still they don't have lawyers. So he came in and I let him win the case. I said, okay, you will get this amount of money. He looked at me and said, I want to thank you very much, but I was told I would see the judge today. Very funny. This is how it was years ago. Today you can be gorgeous, you can be on the bench and everything. Now, after 12 years, my term expired after 7 years, and then 12 years, I left. Many of us, the new governor came in, his name Cuomo, and he had to appoint his own people. So many people just had to leave. What could you do? So then I was back to being a lawyer and to doing arbitrations. They sometimes take judges who retire, and you can be appointed to do arbitrations privately, which can be binding or cannot be binding, depending on the agreement between the people. There are many arbitrations also in matrimonial cases. They want to save the money of hiring lawyers, so it's like a fixed fee, which is much better. But so I do that now. What happened after now I practice law also, but in the interim in my life, I had 3 children, and 2 of them live in Israel now. Today, my husband and I have 16 grandchildren all together, 16. 13 of them live in Israel. Now, the question has been asked, why is it so difficult to become grandparents? You know what the answer is? You have to rely on your children for that. That's a pretty hard thing, although I have been lucky. But my children live in Israel, and they do whatever they want. They do their own thing, totally different than what we do. So I heard a comedian say, in America, every family has 4.2 children. So we asked him, what do you mean, 0.2? He said, I've seen some of the children. Believe me, they're not all there. Very funny, it applies to all of us. Of course, my children married very different people. So the question is asked, what is the difference between in-laws and outlaws? The answer is, outlaws are always wanted. Very funny. So my grandchildren, our grandchildren are wonderful. They love us. So why do grandparents get along so well with their grandchildren? You know why? Because I have a common enemy. I'm sure many of you appreciate that. My daughter married a nephew, or the mishpach, the family of the Chabad, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Schneerson, may he rest in peace. That's who she married. Chabad means Lubavitch. So when she met this man, she said, that's who I'm going to marry, regardless of what we say. He has a long beard, he has a black coat, Of course, we were in a little shock, and the wedding had to be in Crown Heights, in the street in Crown Heights, right in front of the Rebbe's, his house, right in front of his house. So finally, we all had to go. I brought all my friends from Riverdale. They put on black tie, regardless if it was in Crown Heights. My husband wore a tuxedo, And we were there. Somebody said at this wedding we don't have to ask from which side of the family are you from, because you see Chabad, they all look the same, Orthodox, black coat, black beard, everything black, you know. So what happened, my husband, he had a black raincoat, so he put it on, he sat there with a black hat, and my friend walked in, and he said, Harry, that's my husband, Harry, don't cry, don't be upset, don't cry, it could be worse. So Harry said, listen, how could it be worse? So the man said, it could have happened to my daughter. That was so funny. What happened is, we came the day before the wedding to Crown Heights, and the Rebbe, this big Rebbe, he took my husband in front of the entire congregation, and he prayed with him, and everybody looked up. So my father, who was also a rabbi, said, you know, the Messiah is definitely coming. If Harry first prays with the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So definitely, that's why we think it's going to come any time. You see, today the Rebbe died. And of course, people think that his soul is still among us, etc. So they tell the joke, he's buried in Queens, and I don't know how many thousands of people come every day just to pray at his grave. Right near Elmont. I don't have the address exactly, but I've been there also with my grandchildren. They wanted to go to see the Rebbe's grave, his grave. So they ask a question, why are there armed guards around the Rebbe's grave? You know the answer? Somebody might try to kill him. See, because they still think that he's still alive, his soul is still hovering there, you know. Very funny. So my grandchildren are all Chabad, not all, for my daughter particularly, and she lives in Israel, and she has 8 children, and she's very happy, but they are what is known as right-wing Orthodox. So like in America, many families, they have children who give a lot of trouble. So they all walk around saying, where did I go wrong? But my husband, he walks around, where did I go right? So we also have a son who lives in Israel, and they're also right-wing Orthodox. They do everything like holy rollers, whatever they want. So what happened, I was a little upset. I said, why you always, everything is religion, religion. So my son said to me, and his wife, they both said to me, listen, when you will be dead, God forbid, and you will go to heaven, and all your good deeds will be counted for you, but that's the end. You will rest on your laurels when you go to heaven. But as you are sitting there in one section, a package of jewels will be delivered to you. And that is because of the wonderful children that you have left in this world. Very nice, trying to make me feel better. My children have a very hard life in Israel. It's very, very difficult for them, but they love the life. They're very happy. They are very happy, and therefore, listen, we have to send them a check once in a while, more than once in a while, and that's how they live. They are totally different from us, a different lifestyle. And so I saw a sign on the car, you know, one of these signs on the back of the car, may you live long enough to become a problem to your children. Very funny. Then I saw another good sign that I like. Be kind to your children, because they will choose the nursing home for you. And for my New Year's card, I wrote down, may you be healthy and happy, I say, and be wealthy. Remember, money is not everything, but it sure helps you keep in touch with your children. I also have one child in America. He's a lawyer. He's my husband's partner. First, he became his partner. They went to Columbia Law School. He's also an author. He's brilliant, and he married a very brilliant girl. They have 3 children, but also but they are right-wing Orthodox, and they live in Teaneck, which they call Little Jerusalem. They are like wonderful people and wonderful children. Now I will be married nearly 50 years. I'm having a big party for 50-year party anniversary, And my husband says, here I am, married 50 years, and it seems like yesterday. And you know what a lousy day yesterday was. I let him tell the joke, let him have a good time, you know. So we married 50 years, and somebody said to me, I'm married 50 years, and it seems like one day. I said, really? Yes, Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is the saddest day of the year for Jewish people. It's a big fast day. So what happened is, all along, I've been married to my husband, and we make a lot of parties, we invite a lot of people, because the first Jew in the world, who was the first Jew in the world? Abraham was the first Jew in the world. And he taught hospitality as the most important Jewish trait. Hospitality, share your food. He ran a hotel in biblical times. You didn't have to pay to come and eat, and he gave you water, etc. So we make fantastic parties. We had, for instance, my 30th wedding anniversary, and the invitation said, come celebrate the end of the 30-year war. Peace at last. And for souvenir, we gave out a keychain. On it was written, every man must have his peace. But we spell it P-I-E-C-E, because we like to have fun. Then I was married 40 years. My husband looked at me and said, what kind of a theme are we going to use? He said to me, listen, 40 years I've been in the desert, but I have not seen the promised land. So we made it in El Morocco, the desert of El Morocco, and I had a big sign. I never promised him a rose garden. So now we're going to have our 50th wedding anniversary. We're going to have the Jubilee, when every man can go free. Like in biblical times, all the slaves went free, and we will see if my husband will go free there at the wedding. It'll be soon, in a few months. Now, my mother was married to my father for many years. And so my mother, who just died, she was 98 years of age. I said to my mother, Ma, you were married to my father, happily married, for over 60 years. You know, you had your good marriage. For 60 years, you stayed married to the same man. Mother, how did you do that? You know what she said? I'll tell you the truth. I did not know I had to be happy. That was so funny. Today, everyone leaves, they get divorced, they're not happy. They blame each other. I'm not happy today. I'll look for another man. But my mother was very clever. What did she say? She said, I didn't know I had to be happy. So in the world, must you always be happy? You try to do the best you can, and I hope you enjoyed what I'm telling you today, a little bit about my life. I could talk to you much more, but this is only a half-hour show. So I could tell you about my children's bar mitzvahs. Bar mitzvahs when a boy is 13. I took the synagogue, my synagogue, I made the whole thing into a courthouse. And outside, I had pillars of justice built, stone pillars, make-believe. And when you entered, the waiters were wearing judges' robes like in England, black robes, white wigs I bought from Broadway. I went to show business. And they had white gloves, white wigs. And all the waiters walked out in unison. It was like a court, everybody had to laugh. And the bartenders, I got them black and white convict uniforms, like black and white striped. So we said, those are the people whose cases we lost. We got them out to serve you. Also, for the head table, I built up a jury box made out of wood, and all the children sat in a jury box. And on top of the jury box, I wrote down juvenile jury, J-E-W-R-Y. Because at that time, on television, they used to have a show, juvenile jury, J-U-R-Y. So I took a takeoff and made juvenile jury. And everyone received a brief, like in a court, as they entered. And in this brief, there were songs which we sang, like one of the songs, oh, what a beautiful lawsuit, Oh, what a beautiful feel. We've got that wonderful feeling. We will make money, you'll see. Oh, our client has suffered contusions, lacerations, abrasions, illusions. This sad accident nets me 50%. And so here are some lawyers who'll soon pay their rent. Oh, what a beautiful lawsuit. And so on. We have, for every party, we have songs and poems. And I hope that you enjoyed the show. And thank you very much for listening. And next time we'll have a different subject.